Hi, this video is about historical background of Indian Constitution, and in this video we are going to discuss these 12 acts. So let's start with the Regulating Act of 1773. The Act of 1947 gave independence to the India and Pakistan, and this wasn't the only act passed by the British Parliament. It all started from the Regulating Act of 1773. After the Battle of Plassey and Buxar, East India Company, which originally was a commercial company, became a territorial power in Bengal. So, in order to regulate companies' rule and to put companies' territory under government control, British Parliament in 1773 enacted the first Regulating Act. There were four key provisions of this act, and the first thing was separate judiciary. This act established a Supreme Court at Calcutta. The idea was to separate three pillars of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. Here, judiciary was made separated by this act, and the legislature will be separated by the Act of 1853. But we will discuss this later. Second thing was the Governor General of Bengal, and Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. Third, this act prohibited the private trade of company servant. The East India Company was given the exclusive monopoly over the trade between India and Britain. And this monopoly will be soon taken away by the Act of 1813. Yes, and this act created the Court of Directors. Members of this institution were the shareholders of the company, and they were made accountable to the Parliament of Britain. All the four cards drawn by this act were important ones. There was a separate judiciary, a governor general, prohibition of private trade, and an institution named Court of Directors. But something was missing, something crucial. Remember the separation of power between executive, legislature, and judiciary? Yes, all three were parts of government. But at that time, what was ruling over Bengal wasn't the government, it was a company. And the prime motive of a company is commerce. So, what we have to separate here is the commercial activity of a company from the ruling activity. And this was known by the William Pitt, Prime Minister of Britain at that time. He brought up a new act of 1784, popularly known as Pitt's India Act. This act did the missing part. It separated the political activity of company from the commercial one. And for that purpose, Board of Control was formed. So now we have two institutions: Court of Directors to oversee the commercial activity of the company, and the brand new Board of Control to oversee the political activity of company. And we are done with the two regulating acts, the Act of 1773 and the Pitt's India Act of 1784. Now let's talk about the Charter Acts. But before that, a quick revision. We have two acts and 6 points to remember. In the Act of 1773, we have a separate judiciary, a governor general, prohibition of private trade, and a court of directors. And in Pitt's India Act, separation of commercial and political activity, and the board of control. Excellent. So now, Charter Acts. There were four Charter Acts at the interval of 20 years to renew the license of company. First Charter Act was of 1793. Nothing significant happened here. This act extended the company's monopoly over the Indian trade for another 20 years, up to 1813. And it was supposed to extend further 20 years by the Act of 1813, but something happened meanwhile. Actually, long before that, Industrial Revolution happened. It created a wealthy and powerful middle class which liberated the British society from feudalism. This new industrial middle class of merchants and entrepreneurs were getting stronger in British Parliament, and they were demanding access to India. Under its influence, Charter Act of 1813 was brought. It ended the monopoly of East India Company over the trade between India and Britain. Now any British subject can do business with India. Second thing, Christian sects like evangelicals were getting stronger in British Parliament. Therefore, Christian missionaries were allowed to enter India. And this act directed the company to spend at least 1 lakh rupee for education. Ending the monopoly and allowing the missionaries was the Act of 1813. So far, we have studied 4 acts and you are doing it very good. See you in next video.